I'm going to be putting this in maybe the rant files, maybe the film files, maybe the dollar bin, I don't know, I haven't decided yet. But by the time this is uploaded, I'll clearly have decided and you'll know which one it's in. This is the Midnight Horror Collection, a Midnight Horror Collection, an 8-film pack of 8 random films, decidedly put together by somebody and sold to you. Well, the decision maker here would probably be Echo Bridge, once again. And the films in question are The Legend of Sorrow Creek, Prom Night, Below, I Am Legend. The Legend of Sorrow Creek is an independent film probably made by Brain Damage Films. There's no other icon. It's independent. Prom Night, the 1980s or 80 version with Jamie Lee Curtis, probably made by Alliance Atlantis. Probably them. Below, by Miramax. I Am Omega by The Asylum. I Am Omega being the Asylum mockbuster of the film I Am Legend, which is a remake of perhaps the 1970s The Omega Man, which in itself was a remake of The Last Man on Earth, which in itself was an adaptation from a book from which I don't care to talk about or remember who wrote. That's the first disc. The second disc has The Evil Bong, collected by Full Moon Entertainment, Meridian, collected by Full Moon Entertainment, Demonic Toys, collected by Full Moon Entertainment, Decadent Evil, collected by Full Moon Entertainment. They also have this little icon here. Probably these are the guys that made it. The rest of these don't have an icon. But this one does. What does this one say? Wizard Entertainment. Wizard Entertainment's probably the production, producer, whatever. But the people who actually made it, the actual house or whatever. See, like the way they talk about this with film jargon here, it says, Wizard Entertainment presents an Astonishing Features film. So it's probably Astonishing Features that made it, and it was produced or presented or whatever by Wizard Entertainment. That's how they jargonize this. Like with Demonic Toys here, we have Full Moon Features presents Demonic Toys. But who made it? Who made it? I couldn't tell you, it doesn't say around here. Charles Band was the producer. Charles Band was also, I believe, on the Meridian project here. And I think he's also as part of the Decadent Evil project here. He's also part of the Evil Bong project. All 4 of these are Charles Band productions. That's pretty cool. That might be why this is the Charles Band Full Moon Pictures as a disc. And we do have here 2 discs. First disc here, Prom Night. Below, I Am Omega and The Legend of Sorrow Creek. These are from 4 different production houses collected together by Echo Bridge Entertainment. They usually always put their barcode on the disc. Second disc here is the Charles Band CD. I'm just going to call it the Charles Band CD. They put 4 and 4. So they cram a lot into these DVDs here. Put this back in here. Alright. So, which one are we going to talk about first? We're going to talk about the one I watched first, Prom Night. Now, I have the remake of Prom Night that was made in the 2000s. It was just called Prom Night, starring people that I've never heard of except for Idris Elba, who plays the cop. And he gives a good performance. The remake I honestly prefer to this one, but for different reasons. The reason why I prefer the remake to the original is because in this collection, the original formats, the original's format was very poor, at least for this release. The audio was a little bit echoey. There was a lot of grain over the picture, and there was like some sort of sheen over the picture that made it like defiant of like brightness and backlight control like you'd have on your television set. If you wanted to make something brighter to be able to see it, you would turn out the brightness and all that stuff. Well, the film was very dark. The picture was very poor. And I thought, okay, let's turn up the brightness or something. Maybe we could see some of those little dark spots. And it didn't work. Those little dark spots just became brighter grays. Nothing had definition. The picture was so poor. It was so terrible. And you'd be remiss to think that maybe all of them were going to be like that. Maybe that's just how Echo Bridge's big collections are like. They're all terrible. This is incorrect thinking. Because below here, the next film that I watched, the film that had a $40 million budget that made like less than $100,000 at the box office. It was a terrible flop, but it's actually a very interesting film. I liked it. The picture quality in this was really good. It was really good. It was actually really good. If you had picked up Below by itself in a movie that was basically like by itself at a single release set here, that's the type of quality you would expect. It was that good. The sound was perfect. The picture was good. There's no grain, no problems. So, going back to this one on the same disc, I was like, why is this one so terrible looking? And this one's so good looking? I have no idea. The only thing I could say is that I'm only judging Prom Night to be a fail on this because of the version of the film I was given. If I watched, say, a Blu-ray remastered with the picture restored, with better brightness and better audio and all that stuff, I might say that it's vastly superior to the remake, as most people would agree. Me, personally, I'm just saying that this is a poor version of the film, and it impacted my enjoyment of the story and being able to hear things that people were saying, be able to see anything at all. The second half of the film takes place at night, during the prom night, and there's just very little sound. Everything the voices are muffled, and it's just so dark, you can't see anything. It's terrible. Below was the second one of the disc that I watched, and it was very good, as I've said. It takes place in a submarine during World War II. You're picked up by, I believe, Americans. Three British people are picked up by Americans from the wreckage of a hospital ship that you are told were attacked by a Nazi submarine. So, the British people aboard start to experience supernatural occurrences. A lot of spooky stuff happens on the submarine, and one by one, the senior officers of this submarine, since the captain's gone, he's dead, one by one the senior officers die, and then you learn that these 4 senior officers conspired to kill the captain, and now the captain's spirit is haunting the submarine. And you learn that the hospital ship was actually attacked by the submarine, the American submarine, or whatever. So, there you go. It's actually really good. I liked it. The third film on the disc was I Am Omega. This is an asylum film. I'm going to say this right away. If you don't expect asylum films to be either A, schlocky, B, very low budget, and C, not too many named actors, and the named actors you get are either phoning it in or acting very campy. If you don't expect to see one or more of these 3 things, you are not watching Asylum correctly. So, since I was watching Asylum with that in mind, I wasn't disappointed in the schlockiness that I was given. So, it was perfectly serviceable. I would consider it a win. So, the track record so far is failure, win, win. Oh, the picture was also pretty decent. Next, we have The Legend of Sorrow Creek. The Legend of Sorrow Creek is an independent picture, from what I understand, by Brain Damage Films. It details something about the Legend of Sonic Creek. It should probably be an urban legend or a real legend. I don't know. I didn't research it at all. I didn't really care enough to. It's not that good to me. The audio is pretty piss. The camera looks like it was recorded on a 1990s civilian camcorder, and the professionalism feels like a high school film project. I applaud them for trying to make the film, though. I applaud them for making the film and doing the best that they can. They clearly tried, and they clearly have decent performances by the people who have no film training. So they did the best they could with what they had, which wasn't much, but it still was something that I could barely pay attention to, and I could not tell you a single thing, plot-wise, what happened. I forgot it immediately after watching it. So I'm going to consider The Legend of Sonic Creek a failure. So we have a 50-50 track record. Can the second disc win? Charles Band, can you save this? Well, the Evil Bong was a success. I'm just going to say that right now. The Evil Bong is a success. It's very low budget. The budget looks like, and the set looks like it was built on a late 90s to early 2000s sitcom set. The apartment literally looks like something you'd see on the set of Friends or whatever. And the acting feels like something you'd see on the set of Friends. It's sitcom acting. The only thing it was missing was a laugh track. And there was a lot of adult content in it, such as nudity. So this is not something you would bring little Timmy to. The Evil Bong was very funny. It's a horror comedy, and it was perfectly serviceable. And Tommy Chong's in it, so of course, great stuff. Tommy Chong is literally playing Leo from that 70s show. He's literally playing Leo from that 70s show. The mannerisms, the vocal stylings, everything that he says, it's basically Leo from that 70s show. So if you like Leo from that 70s show, you're going to like Tommy Chong in The Evil Bong. Sadly, it was only the first one in this. There's no Evil Bong 2, 3, or whatever, so I'm not seeing those. I've just seen the first one, and it was pretty good. I really liked it. So now we're back to 3 successes, 2 fails. The next one we watched was Demonic Toys. That was the next one on the disc. Demonic Toys was a success. Demonic Toys is about a demon baby. That was a demon that's trying to get born into a human body so he can be all demonic on Earth or whatever. He tried to do this 63 years ago I guess it takes place in the 50s, 63 years ago, I guess. So, way back in the time, during the 40s or 50s, he was trying to be born to this lady in like a cult, and the birthing was a failure. So, the cultists tossed the body in a construction project area, and they built a warehouse where the corpse of the demon baby, whatever, was. So 63 years later, a group of people come to this building. One of the ladies happens to be pregnant, and the demon spirit wakes up and starts to possess all of the toys, because it's a toy for overstock. It's a warehouse for overstock toys. So all the overstock toys come to life as all demonic little entities. Great puppetry, great animatronics. It's all very entertaining. It's a horror comedy, and it really succeeds in what it tries to do. I say, Demonic Toys is a success. The next film on this set is Meridian. Now, what I have to say about Meridian is pretty standard for what you would call Italian horror. If you've watched Italian horror, say, during the 60s or during the 70s, some of them are black and white, some of them are in color, most of them are very low budget, and there's a lot of nudity in it. But if you liked classic horror shows, if you picked up a bunch of those old 50 horror film sets, that they're going to be full of Italian horror. They're going to be full of a bunch of schlocky garbage like that. But if you find those types of old monster stories good, because most of Italian horrors tends to have either vampires or werewolves or things like that nature, the Penny Dreadful stuff, you know. And that's what Italian horror tries to do. They try to put their little spin on it and make a story out of it. And that's what Meridian reminded me of. This is a movie from the 90s, and it feels like encapsulated time capsule from something you would watch in the 70s. And you could have fooled me. It could have been something from the 70s. They use practical effects. There's no CG, there's no bad CG, there's none of that stuff. It's all practical effects and makeup. The only thing I would say that looks terrible would probably be the werewolf costumes, because this is a werewolf movie. The werewolf costume does look like it came from Party City, but that's part of the charm to me. It's part of the charm. I found it fun. I found it good. It was a great story. It was a great love story. There's good acting and great actresses. It's just really good, solid film. And I would say that Meridian gets a pass. The last film on the set is Decadent Evil. And this, for Disc 2, Decadent Evil would be the Sorrow Creek of Disc 2. It's the most disappointing thing I've seen on Disc 2, and it was a fail. I could not tell you the story. I couldn't pay attention. I couldn't give a crap. It was hard for me to pay attention. The acting was pretty poor. It's about vampires, and I don't know if I'm just oversaturated on vampires, or I just don't care about vampires anymore. But I couldn't get into it. It's about this female vampire who leaves a coven of vampires in, I don't know, Europe or somewhere, and she comes to the Americas to make her own coven of vampires, and it's mostly about relationships. A vampire who's part of the lady's coven falls in love with a human, and then they have whatever, and then the vampire coven lady leader disagrees with this, and then there's some weird little red guy in a cage. I have no idea who that is. I don't care. And at the end, the leader of the coven turns into a little green guy, and she's thrown into the cage with the little red guy, and they start doing stuff to each other, and it's just weird, and I couldn't care. I couldn't care about Decadent Evil. If you like Decadent Evil, there's no harm in liking Decadent Evil. I just couldn't give a crap. I couldn't give a crap. It's not a bad movie. It's not a bad movie. It's just not something that I cared to watch. And that's what I have to say about all 8 of these. These aren't bad. Well, this is Asylum. It's bad on purpose. So, like, the other 7, they're not bad movies. Like, this is independent. It's supposed to look cheap. It's supposed to look amateurish. So, I can't give it fault for things that it's not, you know? Like, say, what's a good example? Blah, 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 blah. Here we go. Here's a good example. The Curse of La Llorona. If this was shot with the high school 90s camcorder or whatever, then I would give this a bunch of shite over that, because this is a big Hollywood production. Do you understand? This is not a big Hollywood production. This is an independent indie film that's supposed to be low budget. It's supposed to be like that. So I can't fault it for being like that. I just couldn't pay attention too much to it. I just couldn't give a crap about it. So that's the way I wanted to look at it. Look at these things. So the final verdict is fail, fail, pass, 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 fail. So we have 5 passes and 3 fails. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So 5 to 3. That's a good. You get more good movies in this collection than you do bad movies. And the best part is, I only paid 50 cents for this. So, be imaginative, everybody.